Likutei Sichos, Chelik Chavdalet, volume 24, the second Sicha for Parshas Eschanan. This Sicha will explain the meaning, or the deeper meaning, of the verse Ata Hareisa Ladas Ke Hashem Hu Elikim Ein Eid Muvadoi. This is a verse which is well familiar. As we recite it, we declare this as an introduction to the Hakafos, the very festive ceremony that we hold on Simchat Torah, when we celebrate with the Torah. Likewise, we recite this verse, we announce this verse every time we're about to take out the Torah from the Ark. And also, of course, the connection to us this week, this verse appears in this Parsha. Now, before we go into the Sicha, I think it's worthwhile just to familiarize ourselves with the several verses leading up to this verse. So if you look in chapter 4, in Deuteronomy chapter 4, go from verse 32 through 34. So first it describes all the great miracles. Moshe reminds them about everything they experienced, the plagues, the splitting of the sea, the exodus from Egypt, obviously. And then he says to them, Ata Hareisa Ladas, you have been shown, Ata Hareisa, you have been shown, Ladas, to know, Ki Hashem Hu Elikim, that Hashem is the true God, Ein Oid Bilvade, there's nothing besides him. Another thing to just be familiar with as we go into the Sicha, first of all, we know the rules in Rashi, one that you're probably very familiar with, which is that Rashi, when he has the Dibur HaMaschil, the heading in Rashi, that is very particular, that is very exact. Rashi will explain everything that pertains to that heading, not anything else in the verse. If there is something else in the verse to be explained, Rashi will put it under a new heading, unless it's intrinsically connected. Another thing to be familiar with, the concept of Echad versus Yochid. Echad means one. Yochid means singular, the only one. Okay, Echad, basically it says, means that already connotates, that already implies that there is, quote unquote, a number. Once you say one, that means that there is, so to speak, a possibility for two, because that's how you count. The order of counting is one, then goes two. However, when you say Yachid, Yachid means singular, there is nothing else. There is no other one. It is only that. So let's go into the Sicha itself. So the Rebbe says it's well known what the Alter Rebbe said regarding the Pirush of Rashi, the commentary of Rashi on the Torah, that, quote, this is Yena Shel Torah, literally translated the wine of Torah. That means it has the inner essence, the inner flavor, the inner impact of Torah. What does this mean? That notwithstanding the fact, or perhaps together with the fact, that Rashi himself stresses and indicates in several occasions that Rashi is, he says, Ani loy basi elo lefarish pshut shel mikra, that my only and exclusive goal is to explain the simple, basic meaning of the pasuk. Yet, simultaneously, there is always Yena Shel Torah in Rashi, and in fact, there are volumes and volumes of commentary that point out the various amazing esoteric points that are hidden as little gems in each and every Rashi. Says the Rebbe, that's true for all Rashis. However, there is sometimes when you encounter a pirush, a commentary of Rashi on a certain pasuk, where the whole entire Rashi stands out as Yena Shel Torah. Again, it's true that always Rashi is Yena Shel Torah, notwithstanding the fact that he insists that he is Pshuta Shemikra. However, there are those select Rashis where you can see it in such an obvious and vivid manner that Rashi is Yena Shel Torah. And an example for that is on this pasuk of Ata Hareisa Ladas. This is a great example. So what is Rashi? Let's jump into the Rashi. Rashi says, on the heading of the word Hareisa, you've been shown. Rashi says, what does this mean? Kitar Gumai. like the Targum, meaning the translation of Onkelos, the Aramaic translation, which means you is chazisa, you have been shown. Then Rashi continues and he says, when Hashem gave us the Torah, Pasach, please notice this word, Pasach, he opened for them all the seventh heavens, and ukishem, and just like shekara, again notice this word, kara, that he rent open, like to rend, to rip, to tear, that he rent open, es ha'elyonim, the upper worlds, kachkara es tachtonim, so too, likewise, he rent open the lower worlds, and they saw that he was one, and therefore it says, Ato hareis ladas, you were shown to know. That's what Rashi says. Now, following Rashi's own rule, as we mentioned in introduction, it would seem that this is two separate things. First of all, Rashi is explaining what the word hareisa means, and then Rashi is explaining what Ato hareis ladas means. What happened here? So this should have been in two separate Rashis. But no, Rashi has it all in one Rashi, under one heading, under one Dibur HaMaschil, and it flows together as if it's just one thing. So the fact that Rashi does it so tells us that there is a very strong connection between the two. And in fact, this helps us understand what exactly happened here and what it means you were shown. What were you shown? Rashi has a need to explain it. And here is the reason why. You see, in the previous verses, Moshe reminds them, in his narrative, he tells them everything that they've experienced, all the miracles that they saw, that they themselves experienced. And then he says to them, oh, you were shown, hareisa, you were shown. Now indeed, there are some Mefarshim that tell us that this is like kind of like a conclusion. Moshe is like wrapping it up and summing it up and saying, through all those miracles you saw, you were shown that Hashem is one. But Rashi actually negates this. Rashi is telling us, no. Hareisa ladas, that you were shown to know, this is not just a summary of the previous verses in which he reminded them about the miracles that they've experienced. No, this is something new. This is something exclusive. This is a new idea. This is something different than all those other miracles. Not just any miracles, but this is even more impactful. And that's why all those miracles you experienced and you knew that Hashem is great and so on, as we'll soon see in the Sicha. But there is something that hareisa, that you were shown, is chazisa, as the Targum says, you were shown, that this is where they, quote, saw that Hashem is yechidi, he is the only one, he is singular, there is nothing else, and that is the idea of atares ladas. Now, we could appreciate why Rashi puts that at the end of the Rashi. Because Rashi is emphasizing that because of this tremendous event, which, as we'll explain, as Rashi explains, because of this tremendous event, that's why there was such a great impact that they saw that Hashem was one, not like the other miracles in which, although they were substantial, but they did not have the same effect. What really is the difference? What really is the difference between the other miracles and what they experienced here by Matan Torah? The answer is, when you look at all the other miracles, although of course we know that they came from Hashem, and although of course they prove and indicate that Hashem is tremendously great and he has powers like no one else, but notice I said he has powers like no one else. Perhaps the mind can conclude there are other powers. There are other powers to be reckoned with. However, Hashem is greater than them. Hashem is able to overpower them. But it's not like they don't exist. They're there. However, when you say that there is yechidi, that Hashem is singular, there is no one else, there was no other powers, this happened by Matan Torah. This when Hashem, quote, opened up for them the seven heavens, and they saw godliness, and they saw, so to speak, that Hashem is one. Not so to speak, they saw that Hashem is Yechidi, that there's nothing else. This is what solidified for them. This is what galvanized it and made it that they know Ein Oid Milvadei, there's nothing besides Hashem. that there's nothing else. Something which they could not have come to the same conclusion just by means of the miracles. This is what Rashi is pointing out. Now we'll get a little taste and appreciate how this Rashi is full of Yeino Shel Torah, the quote, the wine of Torah, the great inner essence, the great inner flavor of Torah, the esoterics. You see, when you look closer to Rashi, you'll notice something that at first glance seems a little odd. The expressions in Rashi seem to change. Not they seem to change, they change. Rashi begins with the words, Pasach lohem shiva rikim. He opened for them the seven heavens. And then Rashi continues, Ukeshem, and just like Shekora es ha'elyonim, that he tore open, he rent open the upper worlds, Kachkora es ha'tachtonim. So too did he rent open, did he tear open, rip open the lower worlds. So in regards to the higher worlds, in regards to the Elyonim, he uses the expression Pasach. In regards to the Tachtonim, he uses the expression Kora. And it makes sense. What is the idea of Pasach? What does it mean to open something? To open something is something that's more natural to that thing. Okay, for example, you have to get from one room to another. What do? You open the door. That is a normal, natural thing. In fact, that is the purpose of that door. The purpose of the door is to close it so it forms a wall. And now when you open it, it allows you entrance, it allows you passage. That is normal. That you're working with the thing. That is within the nature, within the purpose intended of that thing. However, if you want to go from one room to another and you break through a wall, that is something which is a breakthrough. That is not natural. That is not something which is normal for that thing. So when it comes to seeing godliness, we say, in the Elyonim, in the upper world, this is Pasach. This is little merely opening up. But when it comes to Tachtonim, it's in a way of breaking through. That makes sense. That's normal. However, when you look closely, in regards to the upper worlds, first Rashi says Pasach, as we just said, that's natural. That's normal. You open it up and you reveal godliness. Their godliness is naturally revealed. That's where godliness is. So when you open it up, you see godliness. And in the lower worlds, you have to tear through it because it's not normal. It's not normal for the lower worlds. It's not natural for them to contain and to, moreover, to express godliness. But the thing is, when you look in Rashi, Rashi says, also in regards to the upper worlds, Kara, he says, Ukeshem shekara es elyonim, and just like he ripped open, he tore open the higher world, so to the lower worlds. So he does use the term Kara. Also in regards to the upper worlds. So make up your mind. Is it Pasach or is it Kara? So we explained the difference between Pasach and Kara, right? Think about Kara also, for example. To tear something, let's go over it again. Pasach, to open something, this is actually to use it fully. This is to put it to its ultimate purposeful use. In other words, to bring out the true potential in the thing, what it's there for. Kara, on the other hand, is when you take something, in Yiddish is zerreißen, to tear something, to destroy it. You take a garment and you tear it, now you can't wear it. Or, let's say we also use this term in regards to the miracle, the splitting of the sea. Kriyas Yamsuf. Hashem was koireya the Yam. What does that mean? Normally the Yam covers up. It serves as a means of blockage. It doesn't allow to go through it. Or it covers everything that's there. What did Hashem do? Kriyas Yamsuf. He tore it open and he revealed everything. But it's not the natural state of it. How does this reflect? In our avodas Hashem, the avoid of a person serving Hashem. So Pasach is perhaps the, quote, day-to-day, or the avodas habirudim. We know that we're here to be mevarer, to elevate the world through everything we do with the world, whether it's the outright holy or even that which seems to be mundane. We work with the world, those things that are permissible, and by means of using that and the energy of it for Kedusha, we elevate it to Hashem, we elevate it to its purpose. This is the idea of Pasach, of opening up. You're revealing the true purpose and the sparks of godliness that's in them. What is Korah? Where do you need to rent, to tear? That's when you have the avodas hanisyonis. That's when you have nisyonis, you have challenges. That the godly spark that's there seems to fall so low that what happens, to the extent that it seems that that thing is opposing your ability to serve God. That thing stands in your way. That thing creates a blockage, creates an obstacle for you to serve God. It does not only doesn't allow you to serve with it, it doesn't allow you to do any service of Hashem. It creates like a disruption. What do you need to do? You need to be koireya. You need to tear through it. You need to destroy this concealment and this blockage that's there and bring out the godliness that's in you or even in that thing. Another way to look at it, in a sense, when you say Pasach, what does that mean? Person, quote, opens, develops his own intellect, his own emotions, his own talents in order to do his avodah. In other words, he works what he already has. He works with what's dear, what was given to him, and he brings out the potential in it. Kara, on the other hand, is when a person goes against his nature. You have a strong desire to do something. You go out of your comfort zone. Going within your comfort zone is your nature. To go out of your comfort zone, to do something which is not pleasant, to do something which perhaps can even bring you pain and danger, only to serve Hashem, which is the idea of Mesiras Nefesh. That is the idea of Korah, of tearing, of ripping through. Says the Rebbe, the parallel for this is the difference between the higher worlds, the Olam Yonim, the Olam Techtonim. You see, the Olam Yonim, their natural state of being is to reveal godliness. And we even say it in a verse every Shabbos morning. Hashamayim misaprim kvoid elam asiyot ha'magadikia. The heavens, they speak, they announce the honor of God, and they tell us about the handiwork. I mean, the heavens say to us, they relate to us the handiwork of Hashem. That means by looking at the heavens, by looking at the upper worlds, we actually can see and appreciate that there is a God, that God created the world. It screams it out. This is Pasach. This brings it out. This is its natural state of being. However, in the lower worlds, meaning this world that we're in, the physical world, when we look around, not only does it not reveal godliness, but moreover, it appears as a yesh, as its own existence. It seems to be something that actually contradicts the existence of Hashem. It almost gives itself off as if it created itself. To the extent, just an example, it doesn't say in the Sicha that I thought of, so many scientists try to bring proof from the world itself that there is no God. How is that possible? Because the world is designed in such a way, the world that we're in, not the upper worlds, the lower worlds, that it conceals godliness. And what do you need to do? You need to be koireya. You need to rip through it. You need to tear it away in order to reveal godliness. You need to break the klippa. In order to penetrate the concealment, the darkness, and reveal godliness. And therefore, in regards to the upper worlds, Rashi uses the term Pasach. He opened, because that's natural. That's its normal state of being. That's what it's designed for. And in regards to the lower worlds, our world that we're in, the physical world, he uses the term Korah. But there still remains one problem. Remember, we said that also in regards to the upper worlds, Rashi says, Ukishem shekara hel yoinim, just like he was koireya, he ripped through, he tore through, he rent the upper world. So he does use this term through. The answer is, what we said before is the general state of being. That the upper worlds are, so to speak, predisposed to reveal godliness. That's their purpose, and therefore it's Pasach. Versus the lower worlds, which you need to have Korah. But what happened by Matan Torah, and this is the point in Rashi, this is the beauty, this is the Einish Shel Torah. What happened by Matan Torah was beyond even what the upper worlds, the Olam Yonim, are, so to speak, predisposed to do. The revelation was in such a way that it was koireya even the upper worlds. What does this mean? We know the famous explanation of the Alter Rebbe on the words Ata Horei Soladas, that he explained it this way: Ata, Who's Ata? Du Atzmos Ein Sof. Ata is you. You, not the people, but you, Hashem, the essence of Hashem. Hareisa Hasich Bavisen. You showed yourself, you revealed yourself. Why? Lodas Amizol Visich Visen. That we should know you. In other words, that what happened in Matan Torah is that there was a revelation above and beyond any whatsoever revelation. In other words, it was a supernatural revelation, if we can say such a thing. Normal revelation of the upper worlds, the Pasach, that's natural for them. But what happened in Matan Torah is that, quote, they saw, as Rashi says, they saw, not they understood. It's not something you can understand. You cannot grasp it in understanding. You cannot grasp it in any way, even spiritually. But they saw, they were shown, Atzmos itself, Atzmos, the essence of Hashem, revealed itself. And that's what Rashi says, Ra'u Shehu Yechidi, that they saw that he was the only one. Remember, he doesn't use the term Shehu Echad, that he was one, but rather Yechidi. Because when you look at the upper worlds, in other words, the Pasach of the upper worlds, the opening of the upper worlds, this is natural for them. And they reveal godliness. And over there, all it does is shows that it's Echad. There's a whole Seder Hishtalshalus. There's a whole order of evolvement, and therefore one level higher, another higher. So there's a lot of echads. But when it came to Matan Torah, Hashem, even that, he tore open, so to speak, and he revealed to them that there is Yechidi, the Atzmus, that Hashem is the singular, he's the only one, there is nothing else. What is the Hayrah from this? What is our takeaway? What can we take away in terms of a directive and encouragement in our avodah? That when we reflect on this, when it comes to Torah and mitzvahs, we need to know that, quote, we saw. We may not understand it, but we saw that Hashem is Yechid, Hashem is the only one. We saw Atzmos. And therefore, what does that tell us? That there's nothing besides Hashem. And therefore, there is nothing in this world which can hold back a Yid, Chas v'Shalom, from doing what he has to do, from being Mekayim Torah mitzvahs. But this is not only something about that has to do with Mesiras Nefesh. In other words, when you're in a state of Mesiras Nefesh, of course, that comes to play. But even on the regular day-to-day, we should know that not only did Hashem tear it open and we had a glimpse of Atzmos, but also Pasach, Hashem opened up for us all the seven heavens. And that everything, even what appears in Seder Hishtalshalus, all that we were also shown, and all that goes higher and higher and higher, where we saw how that all goes, and that all is part of the system of godliness. And in plain practical sense, in Avodah Sa'adam, that a person should know that when sometimes you experience a challenge, dafka through the Avodah of Korah, that you have to tear through, that you have to break through barriers, that you have to, in the face of challenge, you have to do Mesiras Nefesh. That's when you reveal your essence, which is, of course, the means of revealing the essence of godliness, not only in yourself, but also in the world at large. And that will bring to the ultimate revelation of the true Atzmos, that the whole world will see that Hashem is Yechidi, Hashem is the only one. Not like what happens now, as we say that in that day Hashem will be one and his name will be one.